revealed. How a poor girl's unexpected night in her boss's bed changed their lives forever. The storm outside raged like a tempest, but inside the small diner, things were about to change forever. Lily, just 22 and already the anchor for her struggling family, was racing to keep up with the cacophony of orders. Every clink of a glass and sizzle of the grill felt like a personal challenge. She served coffee and pie with a smile, but her heart was heavy. 2 jobs barely kept her family afloat, and her dreams felt like dust on the floor of this little Midwestern town. That rainy night, chaos erupted. Orders piled up, and nerves frayed. As she rushed to refill a cup, tragedy struck. She spilled hot coffee all over Mark, her aloof boss. Silence dropped like a curtain. The jukebox crooned a country tune, but for Lily, the world narrowed down to the wide eyes of Mark. The man came from privilege, while she bore the weight of her family on her back. But as she stood there, a mix of embarrassment and determination swirled inside her. "Lily, really?" he snapped, wiping the coffee from his pants. But instead of anger, she saw surprise flicker across his face. He was used to being the center of attention, yet there was a softness lurking beneath his grand facade. In that glimmer she found strength. "Sorry. I'll get you a fresh cup," she stammered, too flustered to remember her usual poise. Her heart raced, not just from the humiliation, but from the raw intensity between them. "You're good at making mistakes," he replied, a hint of amusement in his voice, sparking an unexpected smile. Just then, the diner filled with laughter from regulars. They watched with curiosity, sensing the connection brewing. As they settled into conversation amidst the noise, their stories emerged. Mark spoke of pressure and expectations, living in a gilded cage. Lily shared tales of late nights and early mornings, struggles to keep her family together. Their worlds collided on that dimly lit diner floor, and as they spoke, barriers started to crumble. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The storm worsened, flooding the streets and cutting power to the diner. As they locked up, he offered her a ride. But when the rain pounded louder, it became clear she would be stranded. "You can stay at my place tonight," Mark said unexpectedly. "South, just down the road." A knot tightened in her chest. His offer meant breaking barriers, inviting chaos into their neatly divided worlds. That night's atmosphere pulsed with uncertainty as they settled into his luxurious apartment. As shadows danced across the walls, they shared more than just stories. They peeled back layers of fears and aspirations. Each reveal brought them closer, but privilege and poverty whispered their judgments. Then came the phone call. A crisis at home slammed into her heart. Her siblings needed her. Her mother's stress escalated. Torn between family loyalty and the flickering connection she felt with Mark, tears brimmed in her eyes. Mark, too, crumbled under the weight of what society said they should be and whom they should love. Standing on the brink of something beautiful yet terrifying, Lily faced an undeniable question. Could love spark change, or would the storms of life prove too great? The room thickened with uncertainty, leaving both of them at a precipice. Would they step forward or let the currents pull them back into their separate lives? In that charged moment, the rain continued to fall. The rain kept pounding against the window, an endless rhythm that matched Lily's racing heart. She hugged her knees as she sat on the edge of Mark's pristine couch, the leather smooth and cool beneath her. The warmth of the conversation they shared felt like ancient history, eclipsed now by the reality of her family's demands. Lily Mark's voice was soft yet insistent, pulling her back from her jumbled thoughts. He rose from across the room, the glow from the streetlights casting streaks of gold across his features. There was concern in his eyes, a deeper understanding that made her heart ache. "What's going on? You can talk to me," The words threatened to spill out her worries about money, her siblings' future, the suffocating weight of responsibility. Yet, she hesitated. The vulnerability of sharing her life felt like standing naked in front of a crowd. "I just need to know they're okay," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Who?" He leaned in closer, his eyes fixed on hers, demanding honesty. "My family." The words caught in her throat. She finally let the dam burst, the pressure spilling into the room. "My mom is having a rough time. She's stressed about bills. My little brother is struggling in school, and I feel like I'm the only one holding it all together." Mark took a small step closer, bridging the gap. "Lily, you don't have to carry this alone." His voice was like a balm, soothing a wound she had grown used to. "Let me help you." She shook her head. "Help? How? You hardly know me, and I don't want charity. I want to solve my problems myself." His expression shifted from concern to determination. "But you didn't even ask me. I want to know you. Let me in." The tension in the air became a palpable force. The flickering city lights outside illuminated his face as they hovered on the edge of something extraordinary. "And what if we don't fit?" She breathed, her heart pounding louder. "What if we do?" He stepped even closer, now just a heartbeat away. The warmth of their shared breath filled the gap. Lily could feel the familiar spark rising between them, a pulsing energy fueled by uncertainty and longing. The walls felt too thin to contain their growing connection. Yet, the nagging doubt pushed against the affection blooming in her chest. Was this merely a whim, a storm-born distraction from their real lives? Could she risk it? In that split second, Mark leaned in, hesitating for only a moment, searching her eyes for permission. The world outside faded away. She started, but the words fell silent on her lips as he reached out to gently cup her face. That moment, the magnetism of unspoken words, the choices hanging like fruit ripe for picking, was suddenly broken by the piercing ring of her phone. The shrill sound sliced through the intimacy like a crashing wave, bringing back the reminders of her responsibilities. She looked at the screen, the familiar number flashing with urgency. "It's my mother," she murmured, panic surging in her veins. "I have to take this." As she answered, worry coated her voice, drowning out the warmth that had enveloped her just moments ago. But as she listened, the fear that consumed her faded just a bit. She could handle this. She had to. Mark stepped back, the moment gone, the air cooling to a stark reality. "I understand," he said softly, disappointment and concern mixing in his gaze. When she hung up, apprehension seeped back into the room. "I'm sorry," she said, her eyes downcast. "It's just never-ending chaos." "Lily, chaos means you're alive." But he paused, considering his words. "You can't keep pushing me away. What happens next? We can't pretend this connection isn't real." She bit her lip, contemplating his words. So much hung in the balance: the lives they led, the choices they would make, the love that flickered like a candle in a storm. As the rain continued to pour outside, Lily knew she would have to decide. And soon. Could they face the storms together? Or would she walk away, back to the world that had shaped her? "What will you choose?" he asked, an earnestness in his tone that sent her heart racing again. That question lingered in the air, pregnant with potential. The storm raged on, but within, the tempest of her heart was just beginning to boil. And in that moment, one thing became clear. The journey ahead would not be easy, but it might just change everything. Would they find a way to navigate through the chaos together? Or would fate pull them apart? Lily could feel the storm's weight closing in, thickening the allure of what lay ahead. The moment hung heavy in the air. Lily felt the weight of Marcus' question pressing against her chest, like a tide threatening to pull her under. She glanced at him, his expression a mix of hope and concern, and swallowed hard. This was more than just an infatuation for him, she realized. "I don't know, Mark." Her voice trembled slightly. "I got so much on my plate already. I can't think about us right now." Mark sighed, running a hand through his hair, the frustration evident in his features. "But you're always thinking about them, about your family. What about you? What do you want?" The truth stung. Lily had buried her own desires under layers of obligation. Yet deep down, a flicker of hope blossomed at the thought of allowing herself to feel anything that wasn't just stress. But could it be real? I want to be happy. I want to feel normal just for a bit. She looked away, her thoughts swirling. But I'm terrified. What if I let you in and it doesn't work? What if I'm not ready? No one is ever fully ready, he replied, his voice steady, coaxing her to look back at him. But you won't know unless you take the leap. And I'm here, Lily. I want to catch you. His words hung around her like a warm embrace. Still, the chaos of her life clawed at her thoughts. How could she let herself entertain the idea of love when every part of her was screaming for stability? With a deep breath, she took a tentative step forward, emboldened by his sincerity. What if we start slow? Just hang out together? You can meet my family. See the chaos up close. Mark's face broke into a smile, the heaviness lifting just a fraction. I'd like that, he said softly, a look in his eyes that made her heart flutter. But I want you to know I'm not just some guy you can keep at arm's length. I'm in this. You have to promise me that too. I promise, she breathed, the word almost foreign yet empowering. The connection between them sparked back to life, a fire igniting in her heart that pushed against the chaos she had grown so accustomed to. Just then, Mark's phone buzzed, breaking the moment. He glanced at the screen, his face darkening with concern. This work, he said, frustration creeping back in. I should take this. Go ahead, she replied, her heart racing not just from the words they shared but the uncertainty looming over them. As he walked to the other room, she felt a cascade of emotions flood her thoughts: hope, fear, uncertainty. Would her family accept him? Could love really bloom in the midst of chaos? She jumped when another notification buzzed on her own phone. It was a message from her brother, asking if she could help him with a school project. A flicker of guilt washed over her. Family first, always. As she read the message, the weight of her responsibilities settled back onto her shoulders. But then she remembered Mark's words. Chaos means you're alive. By the time Mark returned, his brow was furrowed, and she could see the rigid lines of tension etched into his face. Sorry about that, he said, almost apologetic, but she could sense the uncertainty still lurking there. Let us grab dinner together this week, she suggested, her heart racing at the shift. I'll introduce you to my family. Deal, he smiled, though she could tell it came with a hint of apprehension. But just so you know, I'm not giving up. I want to be a part of your life. His determination affected her like an electric charge, filling the room with a newfound energy. It felt wild, unpredictable, but maybe that was what she needed. As she watched the rain continue to fall, a sense of purpose began to build. She wasn't just facing the chaos anymore. She was ready to navigate it, starting with him by her side. Let us see where this goes, she said quietly, anticipation tingling in her fingertips. Together? He asked, hope lighting up his features. Together, she affirmed, feeling the storm outside shift to a calm, steady rhythm. Yet even as they stepped forward, she wondered, could she really balance her family's chaos and this new path with Mark? And that question loomed, a gentle reminder of the tightrope she was walking. Would it break her, or would she finally find her balance? The week passed in a blur of emotions. Each day brought new challenges and moments where Lily grappled with her responsibilities and the promise of something more with Mark. As the sun dipped below the horizon on the day of their dinner, anticipation gnawed at her insides, a sweet kind of anxiety. She stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her hair for the umpteenth time. What if her family didn't like him? What if the tension that always hung in the air managed to suffocate the warmth she felt with Mark? Lily, are you ready yet? Her brother called from downstairs, breaking her reverie. Coming, she shouted back, breathing out slowly before stepping away from the mirror. She grabbed her coat and headed down, her heart thumping loudly in her chest. As they made their way to the restaurant, Lily's mind lashed back and forth. How would she introduce Mark? Would her family see him as someone worthy? When they arrived, the restaurant buzzed with the chatter and laughter of families, a warm glow radiating from the dim lighting. Felt comforting yet intimidating. The moment she spotted Mark at the entrance, his smile widened, and her heart skipped a beat. "Hey," he greeted, his eyes sparkling. His casual black shirt made him look effortlessly handsome, and her nerves eased just a touch. "Hi, this is my brother, Alex," she introduced, motioning to the younger boy who seemed to hover protectively around her. "Nice to meet you, Alex," Mark said, extending a hand. "I've heard a lot about you." "Yeah, all good things, I hope," Alex replied, a hint of skepticism in his voice. Lily's breath caught in her throat until she saw the bantering smile appear on Mark's face. "Only the best. Your sister is a superhero in disguise." The tension broke. They all laughed awkwardly, and just like that, the ice was thawed. They found their table, squeezing in close under the soft glow of candlelight, the anticipation of new beginnings softening the edges of her worries. As they shared stories over dinner, Lily stole glances at Mark, noticing how well he interacted with her brother. There was a warmth in his voice when he spoke, and she felt the silence between them filled with unspoken words, a connection solidifying amid the chaos of her life. But moments later, as dessert arrived, something shifted. Her parents entered the restaurant. "Oh no, not now," Lily mumbled under her breath, feeling a wave of panic wash over her. They had not planned on being there, and she knew the barrage of questions would follow. "Is that your family?" Mark asked, his smile faltering as he caught her apprehensive gaze. "Yeah. And they might not take this well," she admitted, blood rushing to her cheeks. Before she could say anything more, her parents spotted her. They approached the table, her mother's eyes narrowing at Mark. "Lily, what's going on here?" Lily stood up, heart racing, ready to explain, but she found herself tongue-tied as she searched Marcus' expression for reassurance. How would they react? Suddenly, her mother clapped her hands together, cutting through the air with an assertive authority. "If you're going to bring someone into our lives, we need to know everything. Where did you meet? What are your intentions?" "Mom!" Lily exclaimed, mortified. Mark looked between them, taking a deep breath. "I'm Mark and I care about Lily. I want to be a part of her life." Lily's breath hitched. How could she salvage this? But she also felt something remarkable, a growing bond with Mark, no matter how tangled the moment was about to become. The air felt charged with electricity as her parents scrutinized him, and Lily's heart raced in tandem. Would they accept him, or would this spiral out of control before it even began? The stakes had never felt higher, but just as she prepared for a confrontation, something deep within her whispered an unexpected truth. What did she truly want to say in the face of this chaos? What if, in the end, everything could change with just one honest conversation? She thought nervously, and that very thought remained, pulsating with urgency, as the silence stretched between them, waiting for the bridge of connection to form. Would it be enough to hold them together? Lily felt the weight of her mother's gaze lingering like a heavy fog. Mark stood still, a calm presence in the tension-filled room, but she sensed the uncertainty creeping into his posture. He was trying to navigate this new territory with grace, and yet, she could see that the stakes were uncomfortably high. "Mom, please," Lily begged softly, her voice almost lost in the clamor of the restaurant. "This isn't how I wanted you to meet him." Her mother tilted her head, studying Mark with an intensity that made Lily want to shrink into her seat. "Lily, this is important. We need to understand who he is before we can accept any of this." There was firmness in her tone, a demanding tone that resided in her family's air of judgment. "I'm not going anywhere," Mark spoke up, his voice steady. "I want to be here for Lily." The vulnerability in his words struck a chord within her. She remembered all the times Mark had supported her, whether it was a listening ear after a tough day or encouraging her dreams with sincere enthusiasm. But this wasn't about them, she thought. Her parents' approval felt like a mountain to climb, and she was terrified of the crevices that might yawn beneath her. "Okay," she said, her courage growing. "Can we all just sit down and talk?" She motioned to the open seats, willing her parents to ease their postures and join them. "I'll explain everything. I promise you'll understand." Her father, a towering figure with a furrowed brow, hesitated for a moment before looking at her mother for guidance. At last, they lowered themselves into the chairs opposite Mark, the unease palpable around the small table. "Lily, start by telling us how you met," her father said, his tone a mixture of authority and curiosity. She took a deep breath, fingers fidgeting with the edge of her napkin. "We met at work." "Yes, my boss." Mark shot her a questioning glance, and she quickly added, "But it's more than that. He is someone I really connect with." "Connect with? That's it?" Her mother's voice was sharp, but it only heightened Lily's resolve. "Yes, Mom. It's real. I've been through so much, and Mark makes me feel like I can breathe. I shouldn't have to justify this to you. It's my life." The words spilled out before she could stop them, raw like a wound exposed to the air. Silence enveloped the table as Lily's proclamation settled in. Mark looked impressed, admiration flickering in his eyes. Her parents exchanged glances. She could see the wheels turning in their minds, the assessment before the next wave of questions. "What exactly do you mean by breathe?" her father pressed, his voice softer now but still probing. "I mean it like I feel supported," Lily stammered. "Mark believes in me. He pushes me to be better. I want to explore the possibilities that lie ahead." "Lily, being with someone is not just about feelings. It's about stability and security too," her mother interrupted, the concern etched deeply into her features. "Mark, do you have the means to support her?" In that moment, Mark's smile dimmed, and the confidence in his stance faltered. "I'm still navigating my career as well. I may not have everything figured out, but—" He looked directly at Lily, his voice steadying. "What's most important is the way we support each other. Feelings can't be measured, but they matter to me. They matter to us." Lily's heart raced as she sensed a shift in the air, a thin thread pulling them closer to understanding. Would they see Mark's sincerity? Would they grasp the depth of what she felt? "Lily, is he worth the risk?" her mother finally asked, the probing tone replaced with something softer, almost vulnerable. Her eyes met Mark's. They shone with resolve. This was not just about her family accepting him. It was about her own acceptance of what their connection meant. "Yes, he is," she replied, her voice unwavering. "And he deserves a chance." The silence lingered as they absorbed her words, and in that charged moment, the possibility of acceptance hung in the balance. Would they clench the opportunity to bridge this gap or let conventional fears hold them back? Maybe all it takes is a leap of faith, Lily thought desperately, wishing for a miracle as she watched the uncertainty in her parents' eyes. Would love win today, or was she facing a loss before it even started? The answer felt like it teetered on the edge of a knife, ready to fall. What would happen next could change everything. The air thickened as her parents absorbed her words. Mark's eyes shifted back and forth between them, and Lily could feel the rhythm of her heart pounding in her ears. She wished they could understand how much he meant to her, how he made her feel alive in ways she never thought possible. "Lily, you say he supports you, but will he be there when things get tough?" her father interrupted, his brow still creased with concern. Mark moved slightly, his shoulders squared as he prepared to respond. "Life's unpredictable," he started, his voice calm yet assertive. "I may not have all the answers today, but I'm dedicated to being there for Lily. It's about partnership. We'll grow together." The sincerity in his words hung in the air, and Lily desperately hoped her parents could sense the truth in his tone. "Is partnership what you want?" her mother asked, her voice still holding that hint of skepticism, but it softened a touch. "Do you see yourself building a future together?" Lily took a moment to gather her thoughts, tinkering with the delicate rhythm of her heartbeat. "I do. I want to figure things out together. I want the chance to explore what this relationship can be." Her heart surged with determination as she looked at Mark. "Isn't that what love is about? Taking risks?" Her father leaned back in his chair, arms crossed as if he were shielding himself from the possibility of acceptance. "Love is important, but it's not the only thing that matters. We want to ensure that you both have a strong foundation." Mark's gaze remained steady, unwavering under the pressure of scrutiny. I understand your concerns completely, but love is also a foundation. A strong relationship can weather storms just as well as financial security. Lily felt a rush of pride at his words. Here was Mark standing his ground bravely in this battle. She could feel the shift in the atmosphere around them. It was like a taut string about to snap. Maybe, her mother finally said, softer now, but love can also cloud judgment. In that moment, the weight of her words struck Lily. The reality of her parents' worries hung heavily in the air. Mom, she breathed, I know what you're worried about, but I felt lost before, and all I want is the chance to find myself while being with someone who believes in me. She kept her voice steady, forcing the tears threatening to spill back down. Mark helps me see my worth, not just as a partner, but also as an individual. The silence returned, wrapping around them like a blanket. Would her parents finally understand? Would they take that leap of faith with her? Mark's fingers brushed against Lily's hand, and a surge of warmth shot through her. He believed in them. Now it was time for her family to believe too. Okay, let us say we're open to this, her father began, and Lily leaned in, heart racing with anticipation. But I want to know what you both want. Where do you see yourselves in 5 years? 5 years? Lily echoed. It felt daunting and promising all at once. Yeah, 5 years. It's enough time to evaluate. The seriousness in her father's tone lingered, grounding them all. Lily scanned the room, searching for the right words. As she opened her mouth, a familiar voice, loud and cheerful, interrupted from the entrance. Wow, what's going on here? You all look deep in conversation. It was Jess, her friend from work, blissfully unaware of the tension simmering. The moment cracked like thunder, scattering the anxious energy. Lily could see her mother simply roll her eyes, while her father shifted, signaling a retreat from the heavy subject. But it was a distraction she didn't need. They had been at a precipice, so close to a breakthrough. As Jess approached, Lily felt the atmosphere change. The clarity they had been searching for slipping away. Hey Jess, Lily replied, forcing a smile. We were just talking about what? Work stuff? Love stuff? Jess's voice bubbled with excitement, oblivious to the fragility of the moment. If only Jess knew how much hung in the balance. The tension shifted again, and Lily realized she had to act fast if she wanted her family to see how important Mark was to her. Can I have a moment alone with all of you? She asked, a knot forming in her stomach. Please? Mark glanced at her, brows raised in surprise. The atmosphere thickened once more, and Lily felt a wave of urgency surging through her. Hey, don't go anywhere. Jess laughed, unaware of the brewing storm. Jess, please, Lily said, her voice unsteady. This is kind of serious with that. The room went silent again, leaving Lily wondering if she could change the direction of their conversation and seal the bond she had fought so hard to establish. Could she rally her family around the truth of her love? And what would her heartache like if she didn't? Lily stood in the thick silence, her heart racing. She could feel all eyes on her, the weight of expectation pressing down. It was now or never. The urgency she felt wasn't just for her. It was for Mark, for everything they had built together. Look, she said, her voice stronger now, as if she were stepping onto a stage. I know it's a lot to ask of you, but I need you to see Mark for who he really is. He is not just my boyfriend. He is someone who makes me feel whole. Her mother's eyes softened but remained cautious. It's never that simple, sweetheart. We worry about you getting hurt, she replied, her tone edged with worry. And I appreciate that. I really do, Lily rushed to say, her heart aching for the love behind her parents' fear. But love doesn't grow in a bubble of safety. It grows in bravery. Mark challenges me, encourages me, and makes me want to be a better person. Mark's hand intertwined tightly with hers, grounding her. She caught a flicker of hope in his eyes, and that tiny spark encouraged her to push on. Think of all the times I've come home excited and inspired, she continued. It's because of our talks and dreams. I want us to build something real, and I want you to be part of that journey. Jess had stilled, intrigued now, a small frown creasing her brow as she sensed the tension. "Wow, serious business going on in here," she said softly, changing her tone. "I didn't mean to interrupt." "No, Jess, I'm really glad you're here," Lily replied. "You can help." She turned back to her parents, urging them with her earnest gaze. "She understands what it's like to carve your own path. We're both figuring out our lives. And that's why I need you to trust me." Her father leaned forward, his arms still crossed but with his brow furrowed less. "It's not that we don't want to trust you, Lily. It's just no, I get it." The scary, she interjected. "You want to protect me, but honestly, I'm already protecting my own heart by choosing Mark. If I stumble, I want to do it with him by my side." Mark nodded, his thumb rubbing her knuckles softly. "I promise to always be there, even when things get heavy. You have to give us a chance." The room felt electric, the air charged with unsaid words from her parents. She could see the gears working in her father's mind as he processed her fervor. "I'm just afraid of what could happen if it all falls apart," he finally admitted, vulnerability creeping into his voice. Lily swallowed hard, sensing this was her moment. "Dad, everything in life is a risk. You taught me that. Isn't it better to invest in something real, rather than hold back and wonder what could be been?" A long pause settled, and Jess suddenly piped in, "Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I'm all for love stories. The kind where you chase after what you want." Tension eased slightly, an almost imperceptible loosening of the barriers they held. Her mother exchanged a glance with her father, and in that silent conversation, Lily sensed a shift. The anchors of their concerns slowly started to lift, even if just a little. "Okay, maybe we need to hear more about your plans," her father finally said, leaning back but with a new, hopeful light in his eyes. "Yes, please, let us talk about it," Jess said, her enthusiasm infectious. Lily's heart swelled. They were moving forward, her family was willing to listen. But just as she opened her mouth to share their hopes and dreams, a sharp sound cut through the moment. The phone rang loudly from the other room, shattering the fragile atmosphere they had begun to build. "Sorry, let me get that," Jess exclaimed, her excitement still bubbling. As she rushed out, Lily felt a flutter of anxiety. Had they made enough headway? Or would this distraction derail everything? Mark squeezed her hand, offering silent encouragement, but Lily couldn't shake the feeling that their progress was fragile, like a house of cards about to tumble. As she met the expectant gazes of her parents, she knew soon she'd have to dive even deeper into her hopes for the future. But what would she say if they still held reservations? What if the conversation unveiled more cracks than she had anticipated? A thought struck her hard. This wasn't just about love. It was about trust, establishing faith not only in Mark but in herself. It all felt like a tightrope walk over an abyss, and she was teetering at the edge. Would they find the courage to fully embrace her truth? Or would her fears become reality, sending her spiraling into uncertainty once more? Lily felt every heartbeat echoing in the silence that followed Jess's departure. The air around her thickened with unspoken questions, her mother's worried gaze, and her father's rigid posture. What if it all falls apart? His words hung like heavy clouds ready to unleash a storm. She wanted to reassure them, to show them the light in Mark that brightened her world. "Mom, Dad," she began, unsure of the route to navigate this tricky territory. "It's not just about love. It's about trust in Mark and trust in myself. I've never felt more certain about anything." Her mother's response was muted, nostrils flaring slightly as if trying to process the depth of her daughter's conviction. "But, sweetie, you can't know everything at your age. It's hard to see the future clearly when you're so close to it." Lily almost laughed, a nervous little puff of air. "But that's just it. No one knows what's ahead. We make choices based on what's in front of us, and right now what I see is Mark." Her father shifted, still on guard. "If you need to chase dreams, that's fine. But you have to be careful not to lose sight of reality. You'll graduate soon, and then what? You need stability." Mark, still holding her hand, caught her eye and nodded slightly, encouraging her. "We do have plans, sir. We're looking at options together. Living arrangements, jobs, everything. There was a flicker of surprise in her father's eyes, mixed with disbelief. You're serious? Yes, Lily exclaimed, feeling a surge of passion. Mark and I have talked about it a lot. We want the same things. A life built on trust and love. We plan to find our own place, maybe do some traveling. She hesitated for a moment, then pressed on. If you give us a chance, we can show you we're not rushing into anything blindly. There it was. She had opened that door, cracked it just enough for hopes to seep in. Yet, doubt still lingered in the corners of her parents' expressions. The ringing from the other room faded, and Jess poked her head back in, phone in hand. Sorry about that. It was just a marketing call. Anything monumental happen while I was away? Lily's gaze flickered to Mark, encouraging him to speak. We were just discussing our plans for the future. Jess slid into the room, excitement bubbling in her voice. Ooh, now that sounds interesting. Are you guys moving in together? Traveling the world? Just lay it all on us. Lily felt warmth spread through her chest. Maybe Jess could help lighten the moment. We want to explore everything. Travel, internships, art. There's so much we want to do together. I think it's great, Jess replied, beaming. Every love story needs a little adventure. But then, a change came over her. But what if it doesn't go as planned? What if it all turns sour? The atmosphere thickened again, uncertainty washing over them like a sudden downpour. Lily took a deep breath, her heart aching to protect the light of the moment. Jess, we're willing to deal with the hard stuff. I believe with love comes resilience, a willingness to get through any storm together. And there will be storms. Her mother's brow furrowed again, but her father seemed intrigued, leaning in to hear more. Just as Lily felt hope rise, shattered pieces of doubt crashed through the air. Jess's phone buzzed loudly, and she answered. The moment shifted. Huh? What? Oh no, her cheerful demeanor turned frantic. Are you serious? I'll be right there. What is it? Lily asked, her heart sinking again. Jess's face paled. It's my brother. He's in trouble. I have to go. Wait, are you okay? Mark's grip on Lily tightened, a collective tension forming in the room. Yeah, but I have to handle this. Okay? Jess rushed toward the door, but paused and looked back. A flicker of concern etched on her face. Please just think about what I said about things not always going right. The door closed behind her, and silence enveloped the living room once more. Lily glanced at her parents, now questioning if the moment had officially slipped through her fingers. Were they willing to let love conquer fear, or were they still too buried in worry to give her the certainty she needed? Deep in emotion and uncertainty, she felt the ground shift beneath her. Would they find the strength to support her dawning truth? Or would Jess's abrupt departure tear them apart again? Are we ready to continue? She asked, her heart pounding again, teetering between hope and fear. Would their next conversation bring clarity or chaos? The silence in the room sat heavily on Lily, pressing down like an invisible weight. Her parents exchanged glances, and she could see the flash of concern flicker behind their eyes again. For a heartbeat, the air felt electric, crackling with tension. Mark squeezed her hand a little tighter, grounding her amidst the chaos. What do you want to continue with? Her mother finally asked, her voice softer now, but uncertainty still danced in her tone. We could talk about Lily started, but something in her father's expression made her pause. He looked like he was still wrestling with concerns, perhaps things Lily hadn't even taken into account yet. Why does it feel like so much is at stake? Her father broke in, his knuckles white against the table. You're talking about throwing away any sense of stability, Lily. When you say you want to travel and explore, do you really understand what that means? Maybe not everything, Lily admitted. But I know what it feels like to be happy, and I want to pursue that happiness with Mark. I thought you'd be excited for me. Excited? He sounded shocked, the words coming out like an accusation. Lily, this is about your future. It's not just a fling or some school project. It's your life. Frustration bubbled up inside her, a fierce warmth she couldn't ignore. So what do you want me to do? Give up on my dreams for a future you think is more practical? Well, yes, in a way. Everyone has to grow up eventually. You can't stay in this dreamy bubble forever, sweetheart. Mark finally spoke, his voice calm but firm. And growing up doesn't have to mean giving up on dreams, sir. Sometimes it means chasing them even when the risks are high. Lily felt a flicker of gratitude from Mark's support, but the moment faded as her father's gaze hardened. I just want you to be safe, that's all. Safe? Lily echoed. Is that all you're worried about? Safety? This is about living. I don't want to be wrapped in cotton wool, afraid to take risks. The room thickened with a palpable intensity. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes as she stared at her parents' flustered faces. She felt a wave of emotion crash over her. If you can't support me in this, I don't even know where I stand with you anymore. Her mother exhaled slowly, bringing a sticky silence, filled with fear and worry. We're trying to understand, Lily. It's just hard. And then, breaking the tension, Jess burst back into the room, her face red and eyes wide. You guys, I need to talk. All eyes turned toward her, confusion reigniting the charged atmosphere. I just got the news. My brother is fine, but there's been a huge fight at the house. They want me to come and help sort it out. What happened? Mark asked, concern rushing through his voice. Something about an argument escalating. He is shaken, and I think it might lead to more trouble. I can't just ignore it. Lily's heart sank, the joy she had tried so hard to reclaim now hanging by a thread. Jess, are you sure you can't stay for just a little longer? We need you here. I know, but he needs me more right now. Jess shifted her eyes from Lily to Mark and back again, as if searching for a glimmer of reassurance. We can talk later. Maybe get lunch together. Just please, don't let this change everything between us. Panic surged in Lily's chest. Jess's departure felt like the final punctuation of a sentence they weren't finished writing. What if this led to a break they couldn't undo? What if she started, but Jess had already slipped through the door? They were left in the awakening echo of Jess's voice, her promise that everything would be okay warming and chilling all at once. Mark looked at her, vulnerability raw in his gaze. I know this is hard, he whispered, but let us not give up. Not yet. Around them, hope and despair danced like shadows, each side battling for dominance. I just need some time to process this, Lily said at last, her heart pounding as she braced for whatever came next. What if this wasn't the end? What if this was only the beginning of a deeper chasm? With everything hanging in the balance, she couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just about her and Mark anymore. It was about all of them stepping into the unknown together. What would that unknown mean for them? Would they fall apart, or was there still a chance to grow? The moments stretched like taffy, thick with anticipation and unspoken words. Lily's heart raced as she processed the whirlwind of emotions swirling around her. Mark stood at her side, his presence both steady and grounding. But uncertainty still loomed. Okay, let us breathe, Lily finally managed, her voice quaking slightly. We need to figure out where we stand. This is about us, all of us. She looked at her parents, gauging their reactions. The weight of their judgment was palpable, yet she refused to let fear consume her. I think it's time we share our dreams and plans, she continued, mustering every ounce of determination within her. I want to show you how much Mark means to me, what we're willing to build together. Her father exchanged a glance with her mother, both cautious but curious. Mark turned to her, encouraging her with a nod. Right now, we're focusing on building stability while embracing our passions. Mark spoke, his tone sincere. We want to explore career opportunities and find ourselves together. Lily felt a rush of warmth at his words. Exactly. We want to learn and grow, not just as individuals but as a couple. We're both committed to supporting each other's goals. Her mother leaned back, her fingers entwined thoughtfully. That's a bold vision. But are you both sure you're ready for the challenges? Takes a lot to make a relationship work. Lily opened her mouth to respond, but something caught in her throat. It wasn't just about them. It was about transforming dreams into realities. I know it won't always be easy, but I want the chance to find out what we're capable of together. I'm willing to put in the work, Mark added, his voice crisp and clear. That's what love means to me, facing challenges side by side. The air crackled as her parents listened, the silence hanging as they considered the weight of those statements. What if things get tough? Her father asked finally, eyes narrowed in concern. Lily felt the sting of fear blossom anew, but instead of shrinking back, she pressed on. That's part of this, facing the storms, knowing we can weather them together. She glanced at Mark, their eyes locking in a shared determination. Let us share our stories, Mark suggested, looking at Lily then back at her parents. Let us show you how we've changed each other's lives so far. In that moment, the room seemed to pulse with possibilities. Lily began recounting nights at the diner, how their connection had ignited a newfound sense of hope in her life. She spoke of the moments they shared, feeling lost and found at the same time. Mark articulated the pressures of his own world, how he had felt trapped before meeting Lily, and how her tenacity inspired him to reach beyond his own limits. As words poured out, walls began to crumble. Her mom's brow eased, and her dad's tense shoulders relaxed ever so slightly. Maybe they were starting to see the real depth behind their bond. Amidst the unfolding stories, a fragile understanding began to blossom between them. The silence shifted from thick with tension to a shared space of contemplation. I just want to be happy, Lily said softly, her voice bare. I need you to believe I can find happiness and that it doesn't all have to be neatly packaged. Her mom managed a small, tentative smile. We just want you to be cautious, sweetheart. We want your happiness too. Then trust us, Mark echoed. We'll figure it out together. And we will lean on each other through the difficulties. Lily sensed the ripples of hope unfurling around them. She looked into her parents' faces and saw warmth start to melt away the frigid doubts they had held onto. It wasn't all resolved, but the tension that had gripped them was beginning to feel lighter. What's next for you two? Her father asked, a newfound softness in his tone. Lily's heart surged with possibility. In a few months after I graduate, we're planning to start small, move into our own place. Look for jobs that reflect what we both want to do. This is just the beginning. Mark nodded, his eyes gleaming as he spoke. We want to explore everything life has to offer, and we want your support as we brave this together. Her parents exchanged glances, and Lily felt the air share a sigh of relief. It was a small step, but it was enough to see the cracks forming in their worry. As they embarked on this new chapter, Lily could feel the storms of doubt beginning to fade. Love, she realized, wasn't just about passion, it was about growing alongside one another, through the chaos, and emerging stronger. And there, holding hands with Mark at the table, a truth settled into her heart. She was willing to embrace the uncertainty, ready to step into the unknown together. Let us navigate this journey, she declared softly. Together. The air shimmered with promise as the path before them opened wider. The balance between love and support began to weave a tapestry of understanding. And as the first flickers of dawn broke through the window, she knew they were ready to write their story. Now was the time to move forward. It was their moment, and nothing could eclipse the light they chose to share. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for stories that inspire transformation and connection. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread the message of love and bravery. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible journey. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. Your support matters more than you know.